Battlefield 6 is a ton of fun, but you really need to make some key adjustments and learn a few things before jumping into your first match. EA invited me to play the game early, so I've had some time to run through all the new content and the new settings, and there's definitely some important changes that you'll want to be aware of. So before you click that matchmake button, I highly recommend going into your settings menu first to make some crucial adjustments. Looking at the graphics and UI first, there's a lot that you can do to improve both the look of the game and the performance. Battlefield 6 has an unfortunate amount of sharpening added to the game by default. If you can find it in the settings, turn it all the way down, and the visuals will look a lot smoother and more like you're used to seeing from a Battlefield title. From there, you want to turn down all the usual performance and visual offenders like vignette, chromatic aberration, film grain, motion blur, and VSync. There's also a ton of controls for reducing camera motion bobbing and camera shake amount. Reducing this can make the gameplay more pleasant and also a bit easier to stay aware of things during heavy combat situations. Now, I find the default crosshair visibility in Battlefield 6 to be a little too low contrast. If you're trying to hip fire and use these things, it could easily get lost in the fray. Luckily, in the settings, you can increase your crosshair thickness, the intensity, which gives it a little more punch and even a border, and then I'll pick a color that seems to contrast most of the environment. I've used pink in the past, but now that DICE added a nice little border to it, I can actually use a bright blue that is far more aesthetic and it still stands out against the sky. Now you can and absolutely should make the minimap bigger. It's one of the most important UI elements, though the size difference here is pretty minimal. Still making it as big as possible is going to give you the biggest advantage. Now when it comes to the sound, there's a lot to play with here. I turned down the tinnitus effect, which is that ringing you get from loud explosions. You'll also want to make sure that your sound output is set correctly. This is possibly one of the most important settings in the game to get right. If you have headphones, make sure that headphones is selected versus just stereo. You can also play with the mix values here, though I haven't had time to dive as deep as I would like to on these ones yet, but it's possible that some of these higher fidelity mixes will produce better audio results depending on your sound system. You can also individually turn down some of the music volume that I think can get a bit overbearing towards the end of a match. DICE is trying to hype it up, but sometimes it can literally get in the way of hearing stuff. I find that around 30% is a decent balance of still being able to hear what DICE is going for with the music, but also being able to play the game clearly. Now, Battlefield 6 has a truly ridiculous amount of key bindings to change and preferences to set. It's a bit of a maze when it comes to navigating all of these menus here and finding the correct setting that you're looking for, but it is worth the time to go through it. For example, there is a hold versus toggle menu, which is extensive, and I recommend giving this a good read over. I'm a hold to sprint, hold to boost, hold to crouch kind of guy, and some of that is not on by default. You'll really want to look through this and make sure that it's all set up the way that you want, as it could be many matches before you realize that your character's not doing exactly what you want them to. Double tap to slide is another big one that irks me on PC. I had to turn this off right away. You can also adjust or completely turn off the auto lean mechanic and auto peak mechanics. This is a pretty popular setting to turn off for some of the more competitive PC players, so you can avoid your soldier from leaning and peaking in ways that you weren't expecting. Now, for using vehicles, I found a lot of the vehicle sensitivities to be way out of whack, and I had to spend quite a bit of time dialing these in. Luckily, DICE lets you customize the sensitivities of each individual vehicle type. With helicopters, I had to crank up the sensitivity to 200% just to get it feeling a little bit more nimble in combat, but once I got it there, it started to feel much better. Now, an important piece of the menu to be aware of is the Challenges tab. This will show you daily challenges, weekly challenges, and universal assignments. Do not ignore this tab. Paying attention early in the game will allow you to focus on your XP grind much more efficiently and power through some of those levels. You can also track up to 4 different assignments, which is great, especially since you're going to need to unlock certain gadgets and weapons using this assignment system. Most weapons in the game will unlock through simple level progression, but some of them are locked behind a very specific assignment. And many of these assignments have prerequisites like hitting a certain level. And you're going to want to be aware of these because some of the most important items in the game are locked behind this assignment system. For example, the spawn beacon, one of the most valuable upgrades for the assault class, you'll need to be rank 20, and then you'll need to get 30 kills while using the adrenaline injector. And factoring in the adrenaline injector to your gameplay more isn't something that you might do naturally, so being aware of this assignment and when to do it is going to be important to get that unlock as soon as possible. I recommend just familiarizing yourself with some of the level-based unlocks so that you know when you can start progressing them. Now there's also XP boost modifiers in the game. For owning the game, you will get a permanent 5% boost, and if you're in a squad, you will get another 5% boost. So you can get 10% additional XP just for having those things active, but you can also get double XP modifiers as rewards for completing assignments. You can equip these in the main menu, and it appears that you can stack them as well. So adding a 30-minute XP boost to a 15-minute one that's already active will net you 45 minutes. Now, when it comes to your in-game strategy and tactics, there's some things that you're going to want to know from the moment you get into your first match. First one is that the Sledgehammer is crazy good. If you played the beta, you didn't have access to this, but it is now in the game, and it'll allow you to break through any destructible wall or roof. It's so useful for carving your way through a map, and it's also not class bound, so you can equip it on any of your classes, and I recommend doing it on all of them. Another useful feature in Battlefield 6 is the ability to swap your loadout after you spawn. As long as you don't move, you can hit the Y key to select a new loadout. Now, a big complaint that I hear from just about anybody picking the Assault class for the first time is that they run out of ammo incredibly fast. The Assault by default comes with 2 primary weapons and your ammo is split between them. If you swap out your second primary weapon for a different gadget, you will then get all the ammo to your primary weapon. Now, don't forget about your class active abilities. These will unlock in a match once you have generated enough XP during that game. Once it's unlocked on PC, you can hit 6 to activate it, and they're different depending on what class you have. The Recon gets a UAV that flies overhead and spots guys, and it's incredibly good. The Engineer's Repair Boost can absolutely save a tank in a firefight, so just try and remember to use these when you have them, as it's easy to forget because you don't really get them that frequently. You'll also want to make sure you know how to read the new Down But Not Out State heads-up display. It'll show you the distance to multiple people that can revive you, and also if any of those people have tagged you for a revive. It's a great way to avoid releasing and giving up a ticket when you really don't need to. Now make sure to brush up on your class passive abilities. These have gone through multiple changes since DICE have announced them, so you want to make sure you know exactly what they do because they can absolutely influence your gameplay and your loadout selection. If you pick the Assault class, you'll get Assault Rifle proficiency, so if you're using an Assault Rifle, you'll get faster draw times and you'll be able to fire sooner when exiting a sprint. Assault also gets mission focused, which allows you to progress objectives faster, which also includes arming and disarming NCOMs, and quicker cooldown on their combat state so that squad mates can spawn on you even faster. Support gets the LMG proficiency for faster ADS time and no sprint speed penalty when carrying an LMG. This is incredibly good and is a huge incentive to run with that weapon class. And also squad members can interact with you to get health and ammunition on their own. Engineers get SMG proficiency, which gives them a flat improvement to their hip-fire control. They also take less explosive damage when they're near a friendly vehicle, and they'll prevent vehicles from being occupied by hostiles in the event that all the crew exit them. This is a less advertised but very interesting feature that will save somebody from stealing your tank if you get out to do a repair. Just something to be aware of. Now, if you're playing the Recon class, you'll get Sniper Rifle proficiency, which has reduced weapon sway, quicker rechambering between shots, and better breath control for steady aim. They also get the Aim Spot passive, which means that looking at hostiles while aiming down sights will automatically spot them, and this ability can actually be improved with some of your in-round rank ups. Now, when it comes to bolt-action sniper rifles, their sweet spot mechanic is back. This means that each sniper rifle has a specific distance at which it can do 100% damage to an upper body shot. It makes it much easier to use and get kills at further ranges, as long as you know what that sweet spot distance is. Now, if you're on the receiving side of a sniper and you see their sniper glint, if that glint has a little bit of a rainbow shimmer to it, that means you're in that sniper's sweet spot range, so you better get to cover or kill them ASAP. Now, those are some of the basic tips that I think you should know before getting into your first match of Battlefield 6. I've been having fun playing early access, but it's been mostly against bots, unfortunately, so it's been hard to get a vibe about how the actual game's going to play when against real players, and I'm very much looking forward to experiencing that tomorrow. I can't wait to get more into Battlefield, start unlocking classes, working on reviews and loadouts and class recommended stuff. I hope you guys have been enjoying the Battlefield content. There'll be more of it coming in the near future. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe for more content like it. And if you want to support me in other ways, check out the latest devlog for the video game I'm making called Sea Beams, which is a spaceship action RPG. You can also wishlist it on Steam. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.